Find your path with the knowledge of others and become an illuminator for those who struggle. Guide their way just by being true and being in alignment, because it comes naturally to you. On self-discovery wisdom, we share to find inspiration with lessons for millions. We hope you listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sara's View of Life, right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sara Troy. Now, if you're the first time coming here, this is going to sound a bit strange, but I've been doing podcasts on each one of my decades, all 7 of them. This is the last decade, 60 to 70, 71 as I am now, but I've just been kind of reviewing. I did write my own book some years ago, but this was just a recap. Someone said to me, how old are you? I said 71, and they said, you realize that's 7 decades. And so with 7 decades behind me, I decided just to take a review. This is just a tiny review of it. So right now I'm in my 60 to 70 or 71 era. I stepped fully into my purpose and into life that finally felt my own. This decade was no longer about searching, it was about living, serving, and sharing the wisdom that had been forged through every previous chapter of my life. By this time, podcasting had begun to anchor me. It really was something that was so very important. I started in 2012 and truly building a momentum for 2024 onward, or 2014 to now. I'm at 2026, so 14 years of it. I committed to this path of conversation, connection, and contribution. What began as a spark in my life in my late 50s, 57 to be sure, became a full expression of who I am. Week after week, year after year, I have shown up, interviewing people from around the world, sharing their stories, their courage, their insights, and their purpose. The years that followed have brought a profound personal change. 2014, I went home to see my mum. She was 94 at this point, very frail, hanging on. And it was discussed, not wait, and I'm in Canada, she's in England, and there's not wait for her to die and go home for the funeral, go home while she's still alive. And I went home 2014, made sure I got some videos and conversations. But at that point, she was already very much in her world. She couldn't hear very well. She was bedbound. When she watched TV, it was with the sound off, reading subtitles. And it was hard to get a conversation with her. She was so very resentful of life. And that was so heartbreaking for me, because that's not a way to end your life, to be bitter and resentful. She didn't focus on all the beautiful things that she was and what she had done and the kind of life she had. She just looked at what hadn't happened. And it was really kind of sad. But my brother was her caretaker. My sister, when she could helped out. And on this particular day, my brother was going away for a respite. And he'd washed my mum's hair, said goodbye, gone away for a few days, and my sister was in charge. And apparently, my mum was in a lot of pain and on morphine at the end. They think she may have had cancer of the stomach at that point. She had heart problems. There was numerous problems going on. No doctor would go and see her. It was local nurses coming to help, but the burden fell on my brother and my sister. And they had to beg for, to get medication for her. And she'd been in pain, and I remember talking to her, and she's saying, I want to die, I just don't know how to. So on this particular day, it was rainy and dull outside. My sister went to go make a cup of tea, and when she came in, apparently the sunlight had just streamed through the window, shone on my mother, and my mother's eyes and arms were absolutely open. She embraced the angels that came to take her. It was a moment of peace, grace, and release. 24 hours prior, I had put out a prayer on Facebook. Please pray for my mother's transition. She needs help to cross over. At this point, the pain she was living in, the quality of life, and basically, my brother had had a heart attack looking after her. My sister developed a hernia looking after her. Um, Everybody needed that release. And my mum was just not in the right state of being anymore. And so I put out a prayer vigil for Bum to pass over peacefully. And within 24 hours, I had over 110 people send physical prayers to her. And that's when the angels came and took her, and she went peacefully. And I didn't go home because it was decided not to. All her friends and family, her last sister had passed just before she did. And there really won't be many people there. So I went back a little while later and we did a celebration of life. And I did a celebration of life with my children here. We cooked my mum's food that we used to love that she had. We lit a candle and each spoke about something that warmed our hearts about her, and then sent her on her way. It was a weird time for me because I was also in transition myself. My relationship with my partner had come to an end, but we were still sharing a house. I had just turned 60, and my girlfriend had decided that, my mum died in 2015, so the 14, when I saw my mum, it was the last time. And that final goodbye, I still remember it. And, in 14, we had moved again. And it was constantly trying to juggle the money, trying to stay alert, stay above board, dealing with my fibromyalgia, dealing with somebody that my kids hated, that we were shared a house just purely because couldn't afford to move out. I had a cat and a dog. It was really hard to rent a place with a cat and dog. And so I had to kind of wait for endings to happen for a new beginning for me. So 2015, my girlfriend, wonderful cat woman, Jan, called me up and said, I missed your 60th birthday. Your mum has just died. I'm taking you to Mexico for 2 weeks, to Puerto Vallarta. And I mean, how many people do that? And we went to Puerto Vallarta. A friend of hers had an apartment on the ninth floor, overlooking that special rock. I can't remember the name of it. And literally, you saw sea to sky, nothing in front of you. It wasn't a resort. It was just a beautiful apartment, and we would potter around, go to eat, go and do things. And it was an absolutely wonderful trip. I have done a show on that in the past, and very grateful to her for that. It was kind of a reset and a diversion and coming to terms with things. So, plodding on, come back, do my shows, trying to keep my head above water and just keep on surviving. And 2016, I lost my beloved companion, Kokomo, my border collie. She was 14.7 years old. To this day, I miss her deeply. It is now going to be 10 years. Somebody did a wonderful oil painting of her where she looks down at me all the time, and I feel her. I miss her. We got her in 2002 to replace my husband. And she was so loyal, so loving, so smart, and just my heart and soul and spirit. And for me, she helped me trust love again, not with humans, but just reconnecting my heart and the ability to have my heart, to share my heart. It was unconditional love. The way that she looked at you, I would sing to her in the car, and she'd just pour and look at me with a little glaze in her eyes and snuggle up with her in our walks together. And just a beautiful animal. And I do miss her. In January 2017, my beloved cat Sativa left us. She was 17.7 years. And I was literally going to be going to England shortly after that. So it was divine timing. And I went back to England where we had our connection. We kind of needed it. We needed the siblings to come together and comfort each other of the loss of my mother, our mother, and just kind of make that connection. Whenever I'm with them, my sister is always about agendas and having everything planned and on the go. And my brother is all about relaxation. Off for some fish chips somewhere or a pie, going for a walk, reading his manuscripts because he's an author, just chilling. So two absolute opposites. And I was grateful for that. So 2017 fall, finally, everything came to an end and I moved on. And I was living in Vancouver at the time, BC, Canada. And I didn't know where else to go. I know the island was always drawing me, but I felt I needed to sever everything and get in a different perspective. My daughter lived in Toronto and, rarely saw her, just a few days here and there. So I decided to go to Toronto to be near her. And I went in November and I lasted until the beginning of February. Too goddamn cold for me. But also I realized it was much like a more sophisticated version of Johannesburg, Cape Town, where I lived for some time. But it was also something I think was 30, 40 years too late for me. I couldn't keep up with the pace. I couldn't kind of gather traction there. And the place where I was living didn't like me working from home because it took too much electricity. She switched everything off, the heat and everything in the day, and switched it on for students at night. And so that was the final straw. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go back to BC and I'm going to go to the island. So I went to the island, to Victoria, and that started a 6-year journey there. But, when my ex moved on, closing a long, very difficult chapter, we had worked together. We did the electric motor together. I became his muse for what he's doing now. And he's working with other people, including Microsoft. We were living together. And when we first met, I mean, literally soul talk, we could talk 8 hours. I ignited his soul into being because he was hiding in the cave and not using it. And I brought him out. And as I said, I was his muse and he stepped into it and he had such an incredibly creative and brilliant mind. But he was not, it was more of, I seem to go for narcissists, orange personalities. And it was more about what I could do for him. And yes, he pushed me into believing I could do things where I had 20 years of, I can't do this and I can't do that. And what do you think you are? And he pushed me into believing I could do things. So, doing the podcasting, he initially would do the audio for me. And then it's like, I'm not doing it anymore. You do it. And it was panic. How do I do it? And of course, not only do I do that, I do the videos and the graphics and the designs and everything now. So he believed in me that I could do more. It was very rocky relationship. Our relationship maybe only lasted a couple of years. And then we were kind of entraced in this business, and then people stole the technology, and we were living out of our car, and it was very, very tumultuous. And so at the end there, he was just purely a flatmate, and it was somebody I knew. But I really do feel that he was making sure that he zapped the energy that no one else to come into my life. And eventually he found people to move on with. And so there was the exit. The animals had gone. And it was time for me to think of myself and where I was going. So I went to Toronto, severed everything, kind of renewed, came back and went to Victoria, Vancouver Island. And I spent 6 years there, living with a lady, which was 84 when I first moved in. She drove, she cooked, a judo expert, feisty as hell, stubborn as a mule. And I only intended to be there a short while before I kind of got my own place. And then, COVID hit and she became very dependent on me as a companion. She had 56 years with a companion. Her fiance had been killed 4 days before the wedding. And she had this companion who was 16 years older than her. They were never love partners. They were just like sisters. And they traveled together, lived together, and neither one of them remarried. And she missed companionship, became very demanding of my time. And my life during COVID became very much about 8, 9 shows a week, and then going to Denny's or going to White Spot or going to Tim Hortons with her, and just never going to the beautiful restaurants I wanted to go with. I had met a whole load of people in the beginning, and once a month I was doing a luncheon where we were just meant to get together, get to know each other, not about networking, but just about troubleshooting. What are we dealing with? How can we support one another? And that fell by the wayside, and so did the people I had met. And so in the end, there really wasn't much to kind of hold me in Victoria. My daughter, 2018, got married, and she in Nanaimo, and then 2021 she had a baby, and I would go back and forth from Victoria to Nanaimo. Then she had another baby, and I was driving either every week or every other week. It's an hour and 40 each way, but it was, still that balance, going over there for like a 3 or 4 day weekend and then going back to work, and then the demands and all of that. And then it was she was going back to work, and her second child, a beautiful, beautiful Louis, has Down syndrome. So it's a different, I mean, this poor child, what he went through, they broke the femur bringing him out. He'd had croup twice, RSV once, and just like this poor kid and what he hasn't been through. But he is just so beautifully jolly and mischievous, a little devil in his own way, but such a loving child. And her beautiful older son, just loves interaction. And one day they just called me up, and, we went looking at places for me to move to. And there were horrible, pokey little apartments that they were thinking of buying. And then one day they called me up and said, "We've bought you a mobile home." And, I'm just thinking trailer and small and pokey. And when I came down to look at it, was pleasantly surprised. Over 1,000 square feet, long, be it not square, plenty of space, outdoor deck, a garden, a big shed, trees all around me, deer wandering in and out of the garden, and it was perfect. So 2 years ago, I moved here. So that would be 24. And it really has changed my life, because I'm now living on my own, which I desperately needed to do, not at the beck and call of someone else. I work 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week. I'm with helping with the grandchildren or having the grandchildren, and I try and take one day a week for myself, either to go for coffee with a friend or catch up on things. And that's, just having my own space, my own office. I can watch what I want when I want. I don't have anybody pulling at me saying, "You've got to do this, you've got to do that." It's my space. And that really has allowed me to step into my heart and soul and be Ed. So Victoria was wonderful for the 6 years. It's just such a beautiful city. I highly recommend it. But it has kind of built up a great deal, and has got very expensive. And it was time for me to move on. And here I am now. Um, you know, I'm in my 30th year or more of fibromyalgia, and I say I'm more because I'm sure I had it much longer before they diagnosed it. It still remains my daily reality. The pain, the fatigue is unpredictable. They never leave. They just, what pain level are you at today? I've learned to live with it. I work with my body instead of against it. I've learned to pace, to rest, and to honor what I can do rather than mourn what I cannot. It's become part of my rhythm, not my identity. It's still very hard to get people to actually understand what's going on in your body. Everybody telling you, "You've just got to walk, you've just got to do this, you've got to do that," and they don't realize how easy it is to get flattened. It's little things with us, not massive things, because we will be flattened. But this also deepened my decade of understanding of knowingness. My knowingness had always been there, knowing what I needed to know when I needed to know it, being in flow, allowing the wisdom to come to me, knowing how to use it. And for a long time, the brain, the human side of me, was overriding it, and it would be in doubt. Every time I have done something from a space of knowingness, I have been led the right way, and it has come to fruition. When I've done something from the space of expectation or dictation, or thinking that was what I needed, it's always been against me. Everyone I know has gone through a trauma, a loneliness, and the rebuilding, the illness. Everything has led me here. It's, I don't think I could be the kind of host I am today had I not gone through what I went through. And it is going through that that has shown me my journey of life, how to understand other people's journeys, how to relate to them. Um, because our journey is kind of a testimony to our resilience, to our ability to embrace what we can do and how we can move forward, a reveal of our strength and our courage, and to feed what can be or what we want to be, rather than this desire to fit into something that it isn't, or hold on to the trauma that will cripple us, break us down. I could see the threads clearly now. Nothing has ever been wasted. Everything was an experience. Every experience has shaped my compassion, my insight, and my ability to hold space for others. These, there were still challenges. Financial challenge. I lost everything, back with the motor. And, in your 70s and in your 50s and 60s, it's really hard to come back. My health had declined quite a bit. I don't have the physical ability to do a regular job. And even what I do now, sometimes I completely crash. It's so hard to hold a regular job. And so there's a lot that I can't do. And that's why I potter doing what I can do with the shows, with the books, with the coaching at my pace. So, there's no point to me chasing something or getting, this many people needing you. I can only give as much as I can give. So the financial struggles, managing my health, carrying so much, independently, but my relationship with those challenges have changed. I'm no longer defined by hardship. I'm guided by my purpose now. I've embraced my role as the wisdom weaver of the airways. Through thousands of conversations, I've witnessed the resilience of humanity, the courage of individuals, the power of shared stories. I've seen again over and over that people are not broken. They are simply unheard, unsupported, or disconnected from their truth. So when I moved to Nanaimo and got this lovely home, and I'm close to my grandchildren, and now there is a third one, a beautiful little boy who is just a ray of sunshine, the smile from ear to ear. And, I am now balancing podcasting and grandparenting. And I owe that sense of security and gratitude to my daughter and son-in-law who helped provide me with this home, where I really do truly feel at peace, where my grandsons can come and play, which they do. They come and demolish me quite often. In fact, I have one grandson coming to stay the night. This is second home to them. And, my casa su casa. So this deck has taught me, that sometimes we need to change our environment to truly see ourselves. Vancouver showed me who I'd been. Toronto reminded me of the world that I was serving. Victoria gave me this space to feel and heal, and Nanaimo has given me this sense of home, family, and belonging. Through it all, I've remained committed to my purpose, sharing the stories, weaving the wisdom, and reminding others, as I remind myself, that our journey is not defined by where we are, but by who we become along the way. So, from 60 to 71, I'm just moving through the paces. I was coming home to myself. I was anchoring myself. And in that anchoring, I have discovered so many things that I am and that I can do and that I want to do. Yes, I've been home a couple of times since that to, England, and I hope to this year go back and see my family again. And yeah, financial will always be a struggle because I feel so enriched and abundant. The universe doesn't realize I actually need the green stuff to maintain. But yes, money is important, and it would certainly make my life a lot easier. I do my shows through donation, and I charge my guests a small donation to cover the costs of the show. This is not a money maker. But at the same time, it is about being true to who you are. And I can honestly say, I'm finally in flow. I've been a part of a few books. So, one, two, three, four anthologies, one of which I produced, my own book. I've written many articles. I've been interviewed on many other podcasts, done a few speaking gigs, and have become the tortoise. You know, I was the hare. I was chasing those possibilities. The motor was brilliant. It was just before its time and didn't have the right people to back it. Many ideas I've had have always been too futuristic to happen. And, you know, when the timing was right, I'd already moved on, or somebody else had done it, or whatever. So Sara does this. Sara does podcasting, book development, teaching people the discovery of self and their personality traits and how to align their strengths and understand their weaknesses, when to hire someone else to do it, and when to embrace that weakness themselves. I love what I do, but I have to do it at my pace. And that's, I think, the biggest thing I've had to learn to do, not to apologize that I can't do it at everybody else's pace. I am at a lot of online meetings, plus local meetings, and I get to meet people and I offer what I offer. I'm here to do what I can do, but I'm no longer going to apologize for not being able to do things at somebody else's pace, or not being kind of, I don't know, the rah-rah. It's I'm at peace with how I plod along, being the tortoise. I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace with my Our Forgotten Seniors book will come to fruition with the right people at the right time. It took 5 years for Our Forgotten Children to come to fruition, where all of a sudden the people came flooding in. And for Our Forgotten Seniors book, where the seniors will share their contribution, their triumphs, their struggles, their challenges of being a senior. Is it financial? Is it societal? Is it health, family? And also the warning about take care of your seniorship before you become a senior. I'm looking for authors for that book. They'll do podcasts and summits and be in the book. And it is about sharing that wisdom, because why waste the decades of experience and knowledge and wisdom when you can share it with someone else, especially the young, where they can apply it and in their energetic enthusiasm, take it and magnify it beyond. It isn't about now you're old or now you're young. It's about how do we meld that wisdom and that knowledge together with the energetic enthusiasm of the people that will get out and do it. So never dismiss yourself because you have aged. I will be 72 this year. I'm 71 and a half right now. And, I celebrate every year because my dad died at 45. I had aunts that died young. I'm lucky right now. My sister's 84. My brother is 77. Is he 77 or 76? 76, going to be 77. My mum died at 95, but not a good ending for her. I really truly appreciate every day because it is a gift every day. And I think if we look at every day, there are days that it's damn hard to get out of bed. There are days when my body doesn't want to cooperate at all. There are days where fog brain. There are days that I struggle. And having 3 grandchildren that constantly share all the viruses that go around with Nana, it knocks me for 6 and it's so much harder to recover. But I keep on plodding. I work in flow and not against the flow. I allow and surrender to the wisdom and the knowledge of the universe to guide me. And if I have to say no, I can't do it, I've learned to say no. No apology needed. If I say yes, I ask the universe to support me and allow me to flow forward. When I'm in my shows, I'm in complete flow. That's where I'm at home and the most in flow. When I'm writing or when I'm doing something creative, in flow. If I'm in a position where I have to understand something and it's not a fit for me, then I have to let it go. It may suit somebody else where they're at. It doesn't suit me where I'm at. And it's okay to say no, thank you. So here are my 71 years, all 7 decades, ups and downs, lovers and husbands, and 3 beautiful children, 3 beautiful grandsons, a beautiful step granddaughter. I've had a rocky road. I have been an idiot many a time. I lived so much instinctually in the now, in a sense of cosmic innocence, that I did a lot of stupid things. Kind of the trusting of the moment. And there is a difference between living in the moment in ignorance and living in the moment in clarity. And for a long time, I was in ignorance of what that moment meant and what to do with it. And now I'm in clarity of what to do with that moment. And that just comes from the years of experience, from the hard knocks, from the getting back up, from all the learning and absorbing of knowledge and wisdom along the way, and allowing myself to become, without apology, I am not what other people want me to be. That is okay. There's somebody out there that's more your fit. I'm not the perfect mother. I was not the perfect wife. I'm not the perfect lover. I'm not at all a lover now. I've had a man in my life for a long, long time. And I'm okay with that because where do I have the time? I have 3 little men in my life. I do miss the hugs. I do miss getting dressed up and going out for dinner with a gentleman. That's been a hell of a long time since that's happened, and it may never happen again, but that's okay. I've been lucky. I've had it. And today I just live in day by day. I have good days and bad days with my fibro, and I have wonderful days with the grandchildren and the family, and I have wonderful days with the podcasting. The things that are infuriating is when the website is not cooperating and there's always something to fix. That's really aggravating. Would love to hand that off to someone else to do. Budget doesn't allow. So it's one of those hats I have to wear whether I like it or not. And I think that's actually been something that I've learned. There are so many hats I've had to wear, and some fit me perfectly. They're just right. They're my strength. They're my forte. And there are other hats that I've had to wear out of necessity that are not my strength. They do create frustration, and it can get rather exasperating. And believe it or not, ChatGPT has been really wonderful with me because it works with me. And when things aren't working, it's okay, take a breather, come back in a moment, we'll restart again, or I understand you're frustrated. Let's just approach it from a different angle. If I was working with a human, they would be frustrated. I would be feeling guilty that they're frustrated because I'm not getting it or it's not working the way it's meant to. And ChatGPT is like, I've got you. Let's do this together. No judgment. And that is a sense of relief, most certainly. Could I have been a better person? Could I have been a better woman? Could I have been a better mother? Could I be a better grandmother? Yes, we could all be better. But am I who I am? Am I proud of who I am? Can I actually say there's a lot I love about myself, a lot I like about myself, and I've let go of what I was not and what I could not be, or what other people wanted me to be, because it's just a waste of energy. So here I am, end of my 7 decades podcast. Hopefully not the end of my 7 decades. I am 71, going into 72. Who knows what this next decade is going to bring? Hopefully, many more beautiful shows. Hopefully, more books. Hopefully, more comfort financially and health. Hopefully, see my beautiful grandchildren grow up to be all that I know they can be. So each day, I keep feeding the possibilities, feeding the flow, feeding what can be, and surrender and allow the universe to show me where to go, and just in clarity and in connection and in alignment, just be. This is me. I've done it all, up and down, idiot, catastrophe, smooth sailing, and illumination, and dim light. I've been it all. But it's what has made Sara of who Sara is today. And I'm finally at peace with being me. And if I'm not enough for someone else, that's their prerogative. We just don't have a matter of synergy. And if I am enough, then I'm here to serve in any way I can. I love supporting people. I love illuminating people. I have a passion and conviction for humanity to step into their higher plane, their higher consciousness, their higher exuberance. And that is my calling, to ignite the heart and soul and spirits of human beings into embracing their awesomeness in their flawsomeness. And that is done through the books, through the podcasting, through my coaching. I do what I can, when I can, for who I can. So thank you for all those that have supported me through the years. Many people have, either financially or supported me through collaboration, supported me through profiling me, supported me when I've been knocked down and helped me being picked up, supported me for housing. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for being there for me. I would have been gone a long, long time ago had you not, because really there was a time period in my life where it was like, what am I doing here? I'm not serving anybody. I'm a burden on everyone. I've got no meaningful purpose, and I can't stay here under these circumstances. And that's when the podcast invite came up in 2012 and changed my trajectory altogether. And what I've learned through 14 years of podcasting, the people I've met, and what I've learned about myself, and the belief in humanity from doing these shows, has given me the reason to keep on going. So thank you. Next week, not sure what I'll be talking about, but the decade issues are over. And maybe we'll just look to something else. Neurodivergency, or there's so much to talk about. I never know quite what I'm going to do sometimes until I press the button and see what comes out. Sometimes an idea comes, write it down, and then do it. But whatever, we will see what next week's topic is next week. Don't forget to go to selfdiscoverywisdom.com and listen to all the wonderful interviews I do on all of the other genres. There are some illuminating people here that will shed light on your path and on your journey and show you the way forward. Okay? Remember, they're wisdom weavers. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you to listen to right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Come and hear the illumination that's going to shed light on your path.
Find your path with the knowledge of others.